After her parents passed away, Yan Xia was suddenly recognized by her biological parents. The new parents seem to be quite wealthy, and her 5 older brothers are even more outstanding among people. Although I don't know why they are also 5 older brothers, perhaps this is the legendary law of the true and false 1,000 gold of persimmons. After all, I heard that she is a true 1,000 gold. But according to the plot that she was suddenly instilled with, the fake daughter who was raised by her new parents for 23 years is the true female lead. She is just a malicious supporting actress, who ultimately died tragically. Just as Yan Xia was pondering whether she had delusions or something really happened, she suddenly opened the door and saw a ghost. She silently closed the door, feeling that it was not opened properly. Isn't this an urban article? Why can we still see ghosts? How can urban literature have ghosts? Maybe she should go see a psychiatrist. Someone. If you want materialism but not enough, psychiatry cannot save you. It's better to find a temple. Later, she discovered that not only was her worldview incorrect, but she was also a shared supporting actress. Easy roast plus supernatural plus no system plus 1v1 plus non-female strong, this article is purely fictional. It's purely fictional. If you think there is a similarity, it is your own erroneous psychological suggestion. Professional knowledge is unreliable. Whether it's practicing martial arts or metaphysics, they are all fabricated. This is a novel. Please do not learn professional knowledge in novels. Please also do not imitate the training methods inside, let alone the dangerous movements inside. Even if it seems reasonable to try, please remember that this was written by the author. I won't be responsible for anything that happens because of imitation. Chapter 1. There are true and false treasures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yan Xia didn't react until she was invited into the extended luxury car. It turned out that she was not the biological child of her parents, but the child of someone else's family who was held by the wrong person. And my biological parents. She looked at the luxury car and then at the driver equipped in front. It looks very wealthy. When going out, it's this kind of extended luxury car, and it's estimated that the parking lots we go to are specially provided by wealthy people. After all, ordinary parking spaces can't accommodate it. But speaking of it, this car looks like this, making it difficult to turn around, right? Yan Xia still has no sense of reality. There's no way, she's just an ordinary person, an ordinary citizen. When she told her what kind of wealthy Lin family child she was, her first reaction was who the Lin family was. However, the other party seemed to think she should know each other and be flattered, so she silently swallowed the words. I feel like it will anger the other person, so let's just forget it. But from the other party's attitude, if the Lin family is so powerful, how could they have given birth to a child in the same hospital as the poor family mentioned by the other party, without proper treatment, and casually holding the wrong child with a poor family in the same world that they look down upon? So is this due to a shortage of medical resources, or is medical insurance too beneficial to the people? In this wild imagination, the car stopped. Yan Xia looked up and fainted at the moment she saw the villa in front of her. This is a beloved article of the fake Xianyan group, which is about reincarnating through books. The female protagonist is the fake daughter Lin Jiaojiao. It is said that in her first life, she was originally a true delicate and cute little girl, but due to the return of the real daughter Yan Xia, she was forced to die without a burial place. After her rebirth, she awakened her memories of her previous life and found that she had worn a book. In order to change her fate, she remained delicate and lovely on the outside, but had a cunning heart. However, she successfully gained unconditional love from her parents, 5 brothers, and the bamboo horse ABC. Although the true daughter Yan Xia was later recognized, her family still refused to let her leave and continued to raise her at home, because she was everyone's beloved little cutie. This also led to the jealousy of the original female lead, Zhen Qianjin Yanxia. Yan Xia is a malicious female supporting character with no bottom line. She is inherently vain and malicious. When she sees the delicate and lovely Lin Jiaojiao, she has infinite malice and hates her for easily getting everything, which should have belonged to her. So Yan Xia kept targeting and framing her, and in the end, she suffered on her own, was abandoned by everyone, and even contracted a sexually transmitted disease, resulting in a very tragic ending. The female protagonist of Fanwai, along with 5 older brothers and 3 bamboo horses, live happily together. Yes, this is still an NP article. Yan Xia stared at the unfamiliar ceiling, unable to understand why she had become the female supporting character of a crazy assembly line article. If it weren't for a forced full-text topping, it would be impossible to remember this wholesale style of garbage. She kept staring at the ceiling and then took out her phone to search. Do you remember that holding the wrong child, which does not involve issues such as trafficking, is applicable to adoption regulations? Since the underlying logic of the article that was poured in is to immediately retrieve the biological child, there should be relevant legal provisions, right? Yan Xia quickly found the relevant results. Sure enough, holding the wrong child due to hospital reasons is legally considered adoption. Moreover, according to the adoption law, from the date of the establishment of the adoption relationship, the rights and obligations between the adoptive parents and their adopted children shall be governed by the provisions of the law on the relationship between parents and children. The adoptive parents have the obligation to raise their children, and the adult adopted children have the obligation to support and inherit. At the same time, all rights and obligations of her and her biological parents were lifted together. And the relationship between foster parents and adult adopted children can only be terminated by the foster parents, not by the adopted children. Her parents. No, their foster parents have been dead for several years, so their relationship is impossible to resolve. That is to say, whether the Lin family has money or not has nothing to do with her, it is only related to that Lin Jiaojiao. Because the Lin family can terminate their relationship with her. Having confirmed this, Yan Xia was completely relaxed. Fortunately, she is not even considered a child of the Lin family. Yan Xia stretched lazily and decided to meet the Lin family. Chapter 2. Cheapkin People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So Mom, I'm not your daughter, am I? A soft and tender voice with a crying voice came from downstairs. How could that be? Another female voice sounded, you will always be the daughter of your parents. So. What if they want me to go back? No, they're no longer there. No one will force you back. Yan Xia paused. Really? They're already dead. Yan Xia clenched her fist and slowly released it. This is a wealthy and delicate woman. Don't be angry, you can't beat her. Yan Xia slowly approached. A slightly older woman on the sofa was comforting a girl while holding her, without noticing her arrival. She carefully examined the girl who had seen her but pretended not to see her. Her facial features were bright, about 5 or 6 points similar to her mother Xia Shuang, but her face inexplicably had a delicate and timid feeling, completely lacking Xia Shuang's aggressiveness. She remembered when Xia Shuang said that she had combined the strengths of her parents and had a better genetic variation, which was why she didn't look like her. Now seeing this girl, Yan Xia finally understands that it's not a combination of strengths, it's just because there is no blood relationship. She took a deep breath before speaking, "Hello everyone." The older woman finally discovered her arrival. She was a bit excited. You are Xia Xia. Yan Xia responded cautiously, "Yes, may I ask if you are?" "I'm your mother," she said while laughing, and then burst into tears. "Xia Xia, my poor Xia Xia. Where exactly does she look so pitiful?" At this moment, Mrs. Lin hugged her tightly, and Yan Xia didn't know how to respond. She had to gently pat her back as a way to comfort her. Yan Xia patted while glancing at the girl next to her. The girl maintained a tearful expression, which made her somewhat admire. She found it difficult to maintain a state where tears were ready but couldn't fall. Mrs. Lin cried for a while before stopping. She felt a bit embarrassed, but still said, "Mom misses you very much." Yan Xia pursed her lips and softly, "You have suffered all these years." "Mom," the girl finally couldn't help but interrupt, "won't you introduce me to my sister first?" "Ah, yes, you see, I've forgotten. This is your sister Lin Jiaojiao, too." Mrs. Lin paused before saying, "Your adoptive parents' biological daughter." "Hello," Yan Xia said softly. Mrs. Lin and Yan Xia roughly introduced the situation at home. It is said that she also has 5 older brothers, except for the older brother who takes over the company. The others are elites from all walks of life. She had never heard of the company name, but when Mrs. Lin mentioned a famous beverage, she understood. She has also bought a lot, but she has never paid attention to what the company is called or who the boss is. Her biological parents seem to come from extraordinary backgrounds, and it's unclear how extraordinary they are. After all, with such a large company, money is definitely not lacking, as can be seen from their RV and attire. Although she couldn't really tell the price, she didn't know how she could tell at a glance in the novel that a certain bag was worth millions or tens of millions. Why doesn't she just go to a luxury goods recycling store as an appraiser and insist on becoming a middle school art teacher if she has this ability? But she also doubted whether the novel was the result of her delusions. At first, I didn't think so much, but as Mrs. Lin kept crying endlessly behind her, she sorted out the story and realized that the prices were not right. The 10th most expensive bag in the world is currently only 1 million yuan. Why is it that Mrs. Lin can buy 7 or 8 million yuan bags every season according to the text? This inflation is really not like her world. Indeed, Lin Jiaojiao's name is correct, but her name is not Lin Jiaojiao. Such a common name really lacks reference value. As for the 5 older brothers, is it strange to have wealthy people who work hard to give birth? Yan Xia was wondering while looking at Mrs. Lin. She is well maintained and looks very young, with eyebrows and eyes similar to herself, but if you really ask her how she feels, it's probably uncomfortable. Simply put, it's a stranger with blood ties. They are still repeatedly emphasizing blood ties and denying the relationship between her and her parents. And she did indeed waver. If they had known before their death that she was not their biological daughter, would they still treat her so well? If the girl named Lin Jiaojiao had known before her death that she was their biological daughter, would they be closer to her? But it's her biological parents. Yan Xia still doesn't know what Mrs. Lin thinks. Yes, she appeared very sad, but is it really so? They are used to acting, and even if their private relationship is not good, they can still be as close as a family outside. What is the purpose of finding her back? Do you think she needs compensation for suffering? Why did you bring her back in that way? Why didn't you go and see her first? Even if it's just an appointment, okay. Just saying that she suffered means they feel ashamed of her upbringing and cannot let people know. Mrs. Lin seemed very happy as she spoke, and Yan Xia also smiled at the right time. Let's take a look first, let's talk later. Chapter 3. Economic compensation is enough. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin's father returned before dinner, but Yan Xia did not see the legendary 5 brothers. It is said that the elder brother was on a business trip, while the other 4 brothers either worked or studied outside, so they could not be seen at all. Father Lin also seemed very excited. Yan Xia also showed a perfectly standard smile. For a moment, both the guests and the hosts were delighted. After dinner, Father Lin finally made a request. You come back to live. You are the daughter of our Lin family and shouldn't live such a life. Yan Xia just smiled and lowered her eyelids, saying, I've thought about it too, but it's also closer to the school and it would be more convenient to work there. Mrs. Lin started crying again. Xia, you're only 23 years old, so young you have to work hard to make a living. We won't be in that class anymore. If you really want to go to work, just go back to your company. Yan Xia fell silent for a moment. Aren't most people working without further education? Yan Xia maintained a light smile and said, I really enjoy being with the children. Moreover, number 12 middle school is quite a good school, and I want to continue looking. Mrs. Lin wanted to say something else, but her father stopped her. He seemed to be quite satisfied with her job, which only earns a little money but is still alive, and even praised her for getting into teaching positions and positions. Most likely, the identity of a junior high school art female teacher caters well to the aesthetic preferences of people like them, she guessed. Later, the issue of transferring household registration was mentioned. Yan Xia still found an excuse to push it. Yan Xia didn't agree either. She really wanted to just fool around and forget about it. But it was no use, she was forcibly left at the forest house that night. Because she is a newly recognized daughter. Tomorrow weekend, the brothers will come back, don't go back. Yan Xia can only continue to smile. As soon as Yan Xia entered the room, she began to organize today's events on her phone memo. First, the article that was instilled in my mind. As time passed, she also lost track of the words inside and could only quickly record some characters and plot. Next is the comparison. What exactly does the Lin family do in the text? I don't know, but I know there is a group. Is it realistic to run a beverage company? Based on the results she just obtained from her search, the Lin family's beverage company is actually a group, with hundreds of brands under its umbrella, of which more than a dozen are ubiquitous. Indeed, it looks very wealthy at first glance, but it's just very unfeeling. How can a romantic female lead sell drinks that can be seen everywhere in her home these days? High and low also need to be top-tier tycoons with diversified operations and unclear goals, right? Lin Jing, also known as her cheap father, was initially very kind to her in the text and planned to marry the person Lin Jiaojiao liked. Later, when I realized her true face, I completely gave up on her. Xianyan, also known as her cheap mother, has the same experience as before in the text. Xianyan's profession is a noblewoman, while Wan Li and Lin Jiaojiao's profession is a daughter of gold. They spend at least tens of millions on shopping every day, as if all the money in their hands is issued by Tiandi Bank, and their consumption level is directly connected to the underworld. It's hard to tell about consumption, but this level of consumption requires Huagua to print more money for them every month, right? How could this be possible? But Yan Xia also found it hard to believe that the article that suddenly popped up in her mind was completely delusional. The plot of this article is childish, with characters falling apart. The female protagonist Lin Jiaojiao was silly and sweet before her rebirth, but after her rebirth, she was sometimes ruthless and cruel, and sometimes even the Virgin Mary. She repeatedly portrayed her as extremely intelligent, but often acted foolish and poisonous, and even mentally disabled to the point of being pushed onto the bed and taking advantage of everything without knowing what had happened. Even if we set aside the plot and characters, the author still doesn't distinguish between land and land, making her feel extremely uncomfortable. Not to mention that this article occasionally comes up with sentences like, Lin Jiaojiao evades his hands without hesitation. She never imagined that anyone could use, out of the box, so inexplicably. She went crazy to fantasize about torturing herself with a collection of hundreds of thousands of words of 6-sentence exercises. She doesn't teach Chinese anymore. However, Yan Xia stared at the word, marriage alliance, for a long time. Actually, if you just want compensation, is it necessary to change your household registration? My parents are no longer here, and she is the head of the household herself. Under normal circumstances, would she still think of getting her household registration back and hanging it under her own name? If you feel guilty, economic compensation is enough, why bother getting her back? She smiled and said, yes, give me some money, give me the sweet, that's about it. At most, take another walk during holidays and festivals. She has been working for a year now, and her parents are also gone. These behaviors are obviously unnecessary. Moreover, she didn't feel that she was living poorly. Her parents gave her the most unreserved love, and her family background was more than enough. She didn't lack anything. It's just that the love from parents is for their biological daughter, and she didn't feel uncomfortable about it all day. This makes her feel like a thief. Thinking about it, my eyes became blurry and then became clear again. Xianyan lay down like this, feeling that the anger she had been holding in her chest for the whole day slowly dissipated with her tears. After a while, she got up and washed her face, continuing to think about the Lin family's issues. So, marriage alliance is the key. Daughters are a tool for marriage alliances, and having an additional daughter is simply an unexpected joy because it allows for an additional marriage and an additional family. Xianyan consciously figured out some key points. The next step is to argue whether that article is a delusional product. Until now, her cheap parents have not introduced her to the names of her 5 brothers. There is something in the text, Big Brother Lin Yijing, the standard CEO, currently managing his family's company. So, now he's selling beverages. Xianyan paused. So how could the boss brother of the romantic female lead be selling drinks? Why should we set up an internet company? She thinks there is really something wrong with this art style, but it can only be investigated. Next. Second brother Lin Xiaowei, in the article is the top performer in the entertainment industry, actor, and TV emperor. But Xianyan did not watch dramas or movies for many years, and searching for Lin Xiaowei did not find any relevant information. It's possible that Lin Xiaowei's name is wrong, she imagined it, and of course, it's also possible that he used a stage name. Sangu Lin Qingji is an extremely exaggerated and aloof divine doctor. He studied medicine at the age of 5 and became famous at the age of 16, causing many predecessors to bow down one after another. It is now a legend in the industry. In heaven and earth, as long as it is a disease that a person can get, there is nothing he cannot cure, and a bunch of difficult surgeries can only be performed by him. Author, this is Mary Sullivan. Have you read too much? Maybe it's because Mary Sullivan has been scanning too much lately. Xianyan sighed. The last 2, the 4th brother Lin Yugong and the 5th brother Lin Chuxian, are twins. Lin Yugong is a silent genius hacker, and Lin Chuxian is a crazy chemical genius. The setting is too tacky, the characters are too flat, and she didn't even get any useful information. Xianyan carefully recalled the information of her 5 brothers and lay down after confirming that it was correct. I will see you tomorrow. Then you will know if you have delusions. Chapter 4. Is correct, but not all are correct. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, near 10 o'clock, Xianyan saw her 3rd brother Lin Qingji. Xia, this is your 3rd brother Lin Qingji, Mrs. Lin said with a smile on her face. The name matches. He is a dermatologist who works at the provincial dermatology department and is currently stationed in the leprosy village. Isn't it Marisu? Xianyan looked at the young man in a daze, who only looked at her without any extra expression. She could only shyly smile and say, "Hello, I'm Xianyan." "Hello," Lin Qingji replied expressionlessly. Then the 2 of them didn't know what to say. Fortunately Mrs. Lin had a lot to say, so they didn't have a cold shoulder. But soon Lin Jiaojiao called Mrs. Lin away, leaving only their 2 big eyes staring at each other. He doesn't intend to speak, does he? Xianyan closed her eyes. What I'm most afraid of is the sudden quietness of the air, let alone being with such a person quietly. To be fair, Lin Qingji looks 7 or 8 points similar to her, and at first glance, it is clear that he has a blood relationship with her. But this doesn't create any sense of familiarity, it's a bit eerie. Lin Qingji has a slightly cold temperament and no facial expressions. If it were to be said that he doesn't quite match the coldness in the text, but rather has a texture closer to non-human, Xianyan would have a terrifying valley effect. In the past, comics used to say that meeting someone who looked like her would lead to death, but now she feels that even if it's just a similarity, there is a possibility of death. Xianyan had to grit her teeth to find a topic. Third brother, what is leprosy village? The place where leprosy patients were previously quarantined. Later, those patients recovered but still lived there, so they had to take turn station to take care of them. What is leprosy? An infectious disease. Are they quarantined in a leprosy village because they can infect others? They are already fine, they won't be contagious. So they won't come out. I can't come out. Leprosy has sequelae, and the medical conditions used to be not very good. Many of them looked scary on the outside, Lin Qingji said after a moment of silence. They even have some disabilities. The outside world is not willing to accept them, and they are also disconnected from the outside world. Now they are being raised by the upper echelons. Yan Xia felt that the conversation was becoming increasingly strange. She was about to change the topic when she saw Lin Qingji taking out her phone. Do you want to see what leprosy patients look like? Yan Xia nodded involuntarily, and then she saw the face on the screen. Lin Qingji's fingers slid down and she saw a bumpy back again. Lin Qingji slid again and saw a deformed hand. How do you feel? Lin Qingji asked softly. It's like seeing the back of a toad, and it's like seeing the mouth of a lamprey. Yan Xia, who was mentally challenged, decided to process the image she had just seen with a professional eye. Now she realized that there were actually many points to draw. As is well known, the favorite models for art students are not young and beautiful, but rather old, sick, disabled, and ugly. This type of model is much more expensive than those who are normal and beautiful. The person who just pieced together these few photos happened to hit all four. If it were in their school, this person would probably be very popular. Yan Xia finally calmed down. But this is really disrespectful to patients. Yan Xia remained silent for a while before saying, isn't it too light to talk about being pitiful? No, Lin Qingji put away his phone and finally felt a little warmth in his body. It's already great to be pitiful. It's lucky not to have a deeper understanding. Yan Xia was about to say something when a person wearing a mask, hat, and sunglasses rushed in. Third. Help me take a look at my face. Lin Xiaowei, the second brother, is indeed a fan of the entertainment industry. But he didn't use Lin Xiaowei's name, instead he gave a stage name, Xianyan. The name Xianyan has even been heard of by entertainment industry insulators like Yan Xia. Because he is indeed very good looking and has good acting skills. He is not as good as the top performers in the entertainment industry today, but more like the top performers from 20 years ago. But now, the face beloved by Nyuhua has been destroyed. Yan Xia stared at Lin Xiaowei's face covered in red rashes, lost in thought. It seems that this issue was not mentioned at all in the text. Shouldn't Lin Xiaowei be handsome from beginning to end? Have you ever taken any special food or medication? No. Lin Qingji put down Lin Xiaowei's clothes and said, I'm allergic to light. Lin Xiaowei asked, what disease? Light allergy. What disease? Allergic to sunlight. What? Third, did you make a mistake? That's right, it's just photosensitivity. Lin Qingji's tone clearly became impatient. Are you a doctor or am I a doctor? What should we do then? Use some medicine. Lin Qingji wrote down the name of the medicine. You can go find someone to buy it. Can't you drive it? Paifang is over 100 kilometers away, do you think I can fly back and prescribe medicine for you? No, aren't you a doctor? You can't just take my medicine. I am a doctor, not a pharmaceutical factory. Yan Xia silently drew a fork for Lin Xiaowei in her heart. Isn't the text about a gentle and understanding second brother? Do you look like a fool who can't understand human language now? She glanced at Lin Qingji again. This doesn't work either, it's not enough for Marisu. Dr. Marisu is able to take out suitable medication anytime and anywhere, even though it's unclear whether it's a doctor or a doryman. Lin Xiaowei over there is still buzzing around. Will it be sent again after it's done? Yes. Lin Xiaowei became anxious and said, what should I do? Don't expose yourself to the sun. So what should we do? Don't expose yourself to the sun. Lin Xiaowei was not convinced, but I used a lot of sunscreen this time and it didn't work. What I'm saying is, don't sunbathe. Lin Qingji's tone remained calm, and Lin Xiaowei was annoyed, so what should I do? Lin Qingji looked at Lin Xiaowei like a fool and said, I said, don't sunbathe. You. Yan Xia finally couldn't bear to see it anymore. I guess what third brother means is that you are allergic to sunlight, so it's best not to come into contact with it. If you don't expose yourself to the sun, you won't get sick. Lin Xiaowei hesitated for a moment and angrily said to Lin Qingji, third, this is the method you gave me. How could I not sunbathe? Have you forgotten what job I did? You need to give me another plan. Lin Qingji looked at Lin Xiaowei with a deadly gaze for a long time, and suddenly said seriously to Yan Xia, I am not a violent person. I have always believed that violence cannot solve problems. If possible, try not to use violence. Yan Xia. Ah. Then Yan Xia understood. Lin Qingji took off his frameless glasses and punched Lin Xiaowei in the face. I've been holding you for a long time. Don't think I won't hit you. You're my brother, not my patient. Chapter 5. Seemingly right but not right. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I said, third, can you stop slapping me next time? Lin Xiaowei, who had finally calmed down, covered his injured area with ice in a pitiful manner, but unfortunately Lin Qingji didn't even accept it. Anyway, you can't see anyone with your face right now. Lin Xiaowei thought for a while, then nervously asked, are you really just using ice to hit me here? Do you want some iodine or something? Lin Qingji couldn't bear it anymore. What kind of iodine is used for disinfection without any wounds? I'll give you 2 incisions if you want to use iodine so much. No need. Lin Xiaowei sat a little further away in a casual manner, so as not to make Lin Qingji lose interest and give him a second try. Yan Xia drank tea silently. These 2 people seemed to have nothing to do with the image in the text except for their names. Don't worry about them, second brother and third brother are just like that, just get used to it. Lin Chuxian picked up the apple with a smile and started to slice it with a melon. Yan Xia glanced at him. Lin Chuxian, the 5th brother, ignored the scene of Lin Qingji beating Lin Xiaowei as soon as he returned, and showed her friendliness on one hand. He was not only enthusiastic and friendly, but also wanted to peel apples for her now. Speaking of which, it seems that the 5th brother in the article also peeled apples when they first met, but they quickly cut a plate of rabbit apples with a small knife and then gave it to Lin Jiaojiao. Lin Jiaojiao would give it to her with an embarrassed expression on her face, sister, eat it. 5th brother likes to do these fancy things. Then Lin Chuxian said unhappily, this is for you. Lin Jiaojiao looked embarrassed and said, isn't that good? Lin Chuxian was even more unhappy and started feeding her apples. Lin Jiaojiao looked at her awkwardly while eating, sister, I'll have brother 5 peel an apple for you later. Then she would think with a jealous expression. Mine, these were supposed to be mine. If it weren't for Lin Jiaojiao stealing my life, although I don't know how the author wrote this awkward and intellectually disabled plot, who can explain Guago now? No, it's not that the melon planer is not good. Yan Xia also likes to use the melon planer to slice apples. After all, the scientific name of the melon planer is a peeler, and peeling it is professional. But Guapeo and Lin Chuxian are not compatible with each other. Who's the crazy male lead who criticizes romance and uses melons to slice apples? Is this crazy criticism or silly criticism? Here, Lin Chuxian has already handed over the peeled apples. Thank you, Brother Wu. Lin Chuxian looked at her with a smile as she nibbled on an apple and said, Xia Xia, can I call you Xia Xia? Yan Xia didn't know what he wanted to do, but when she thought about it, it seemed like it wouldn't be good to refuse, so she nodded. Didn't Mom tell you about me? In fact, except for Big Brother, none of you four mentioned it. Yan Xia looked at him and continued to nibble on the apple. Second and third brothers, you also know what to do. As for your fifth brother, I'm different from them. In the future, I may be in academia. Lin Xiaohui sneered, don't listen to him. Why is it possible to pursue academia instead of academia? It's because it's more likely you won't be able to find a job. Yan Xia was also right when she thought about it. The four major sinkholes of biochemical and environmental materials, isn't this fifth brother from chemistry? It's normal for someone studying chemistry to not find a job. But Lin Xiaohui said, he studied sociology. Have you heard of sociology? After graduation, either he's a fraud or he can't find a job in a major. Yan Xia paused and pretended to be very focused while eating the apple. If I had known I wouldn't eat so fast, I had already eaten the core. But Lin Chuxian wasn't angry either. He said with a good temper, but there's also a chance to work in a university, isn't it? I'm a bit better than Lin Yugong. Then he turned his head to Yan Xia and said, Xia Xia hasn't seen Lin Yugong yet, have you? He's your fourth brother, majoring in anthropology. It sounds so tall. Lin Chuxian smiled gently again and said, does Xia Xia know what anthropology does? Yan Xia shook her head honestly. Lin Chuxian said happily, I don't know, that's right. HR also thinks the same way. So, for anthropology graduates, they can only write sociology in their resumes because HR doesn't even know what anthropology is. Your fifth brother is much stronger than your fourth brother. When Lin Yugong comes back later, Xia Xia, remember to cooperate and let him perform that. What anthropology does. Come on, Xia Xia Xia, fifth brother will treat you to an apple. After speaking, Lin Chuxian started peeling apples again. In the end, the performance of What Anthropology Does was not successful. Because Lin Jiaojiao has come out. Lin Jiaojiao had red eyes and timidly called out to her brothers. If this is one, the three brothers should be heartbroken. But Yan Xia noticed that their three attitudes were a bit strange. Even if Lin Qingji is neither cold nor hot, Lin Xiaohui, who is portrayed as gentle and understanding in the text, likes to ignore it. Lin Xiaohui actually doesn't pay much attention to Yan Xia. Yan Xia thought it was because she stole Lin Jiaojiao's identity as the daughter of the Lin family. But now it seems that he doesn't even want to talk to Lin Jiaojiao herself. As for Lin Chuxian, who had just been happily chatting with her about anthropology, he suddenly became mute and just sat next to her. Lin Jiaojiao felt aggrieved. Mrs. Lin was heartbroken, but she also knew that it was all due to Yan Xia's worries when she came back. Yi Zi could still hold her and gently comfort her. The two mother and daughter hugged each other intimately, but the rest remained silent. So when Lin Yugong returned, this terrifying and awkward atmosphere directly silenced him. He said hello and sat next to Yan Xia, starting to cut apples. Yan Xia looks up at Lin Yugong. He is indeed Lin Chuxian's twin brother. He looks exactly the same except for a few black colors. But why did both of you get into a fight with apple? This is her third apple today. Yan Xia felt a bit nauseous, but now she couldn't refuse. She could only watch as Lin Yugong cut a swan apple and put it in front of her. Thank you, fourth brother. Yan Xia whispered, her mind filled with Zhao Benchen's voice saying, he still needs to thank us. Lin Chuxian snatched the swan away and ate one of its wings. Thank you, fourth brother, he said, I'll cut you another one. No need, it's too troublesome. No trouble. Lin Yugong, we're going to have dinner soon. Are you trying to hold on to Xia Xia? Lin Yugong finally stopped, and Yan Xia gratefully said to Lin Chuxian, fifth brother. You won't be unable to find a job. With such eloquence, it seems that it's not impossible to find a job. Lin Chuxian smiled proudly at Lin Yugong and continued to educate Yan Xia on anthropology. For example, anthropology needs to live together with local residents, and it is possible that after living together for 7 or 8 years, one may not be able to complete their thesis. During this period, Lin Yugong kept playing with a small knife, which made Yan Xia's heart skip a beat, afraid that he would directly strike Lin Chuxian a few times. Fortunately, Lin Yugong still had some rationality, and Lin Chuxian lived to lunch without any fear or danger. At this moment, big brother Lin Yijing has finally returned. Lin Yijing finally had a slight match with the image in the article in his mind. He is very good-looking, with a commanding and handsome demeanor. More importantly, he just greeted her and focused his attention on Lin Jiaojiao. When Lin Chuxian was chatting and laughing with her just now, she was afraid that Lin Jiaojiao, who had been staring here all along, would do something terrible. With the return of Lin Yijing, Lin Jiaojiao finally stopped sticking to Mrs. Lin and went to stick to Lin Yijing instead. Looking at Lin Yijing with a spoiled face, Yan Xia was very pleased. Finally, someone is right. Due to the presence of Lin Yijing, Lin Jiaojiao was exceptionally active during this meal. She chattered and made Mrs. Lin and Lin Yijing extremely happy. But the others fell silent again, and the 3 parties were completely unaware. But lobster and base are delicious. Although the atmosphere was not good, Yan Xia, who had a very happy meal, made another request to go home after dinner. Why is she still here after seeing everyone? After repeatedly stating that she wanted to prepare lessons and would come back next Saturday, Yan Xia finally managed to run away. It was Lin Qingji who sent it to her, and in the end, she added a WeChat account. If you have any skin problems, feel free to ask me. If you find that your boyfriend has any strange skin lesions or something strange on his genitals, you can also ask me. Lin Qingji said some very strange things in a calm tone. If it's any other illness, I don't quite understand, but if you need it, I'll ask my classmates in related specialties. Okay, thank you, third brother. Goodbye, third brother. She doesn't even have a boyfriend. Why did she even consider her boyfriend having a sexually transmitted disease? After returning home, Yan Xia finally breathed a sigh of relief. The brain relaxed for a moment before starting to review again. The names all match. She doesn't even know the Lin family, so the likelihood of losing any memory is very low. The probability of a blind cat encountering a dead mouse is even lower. 5 uncommon names collide together, and the probability society tells you that this is purely accidental, and the probability can be ignored. That means at least a part of this article is correct. But why are there so many places that don't match? I didn't even match my character well. Is it the ultimate OOC and humanities of this article? No, can this kind of garbage article also have followers? Wrong thinking. Is that now or before Lin Jiaojiao's rebirth? Not right. If Lin Jiaojiao had been reborn, she wouldn't have had such a bad relationship with her 4 brothers at this time. After being reborn, she won't be able to do it anymore. She's a group favorite. So where is the problem with this? What kind of person would the female protagonist who collapsed in the original text be in Chapter 6? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recognizing a relative did not have a huge impact on Yan Xia's life. She went to the cemetery and told her parents that she was not their biological daughter. No one had a dream that night, and neither did they. She tentatively mentioned to Lin Jiaojiao about her parents. Lin Jiaojiao's face immediately turned ugly, and she timidly said that she was not mentally prepared yet and would wait until Qingming to go. It's okay if you don't go. Yan Xia went to the cemetery again and filed a lawsuit against her. Then my heart relaxed. In the remaining days, she still works diligently, buys more groceries, cooks and takes care of herself, and even rides her bicycle to work. The only 3 changes were that she added Mr. and Mrs. Lin to her phone address book, added Lin Qingji to WeChat, and had to go and gather with the Lin family on Saturdays. Of course, basically we eat with Mrs. Lin and Lin Jiaojiao. Mr. Lin and Lin Yijing sometimes appear, while the other 4 brothers are completely absent. At first, Yan Xia was a bit nervous, but now it's time for an extra meal. She herself is not willing to do so abundantly every day. But recently she realized that she might still be nervous, just thinking she's used to it. Because she experiences ghost pressure on the bed, and it becomes more and more frequent. Perhaps it's because the Lin family only asked her to eat and didn't ask for anything else, which made her a bit nervous. She thought, if the other boot doesn't land for a day, she won't be at ease for a whole day. The difference between the Lin family and Wen Li is not small. Even as the female lead, Lin Jiaojiao doesn't know which direction she belongs to. In the text given to her, Lin Jiaojiao is undoubtedly a character whose writing has collapsed. The author wants her to be so delicate and weak that all the male leads feel pity for her, but also wants to show that she is actually omnipotent, making the male leads admire her. To show her delicacy, it is necessary to write that she can only rely on the male protagonists for survival, and also want her to be the goddess of revenge, so she is independent and does not need the male protagonists at all. The result was that she collapsed. You don't know if she has a brain, whether she needs male leads, or what personality she has, but due to the extremely poor plot arrangement, the only thing that highlights in the end is endless boredom. It is absurd that the author repeatedly emphasizes her kindness and softness. A person who experiences great calamity will undergo transformation, but the kind-hearted person depicted in this article, who has been soft for a lifetime, was still being bullied before being reborn, and after being reborn the next second, he would beat a 4-year-old girl who only had a few words of yin and yang, something that Lin Jiaojiao herself doesn't remember, until her nose was blue and her face was swollen. He would also cry and let Lin's father bankrupt the little girl's house. Yes, this is the first battle of Lin Jiaojiao's battered face after her rebirth. When Yan Xia flipped through the plot of that article, she was shocked by this passage. Does the author really know what they are writing? Where is the pleasure of boxing kindergarten? That is to say, the female protagonist with no bottom-line revenge is still popular now, and as long as this character is portrayed, there will be support in any way it is written. You should know that this kind of behavior was just a vicious female supporting character in the past. Because of this, it is difficult for her to know which direction Lin Jiaojiao will deviate from. The 5 brothers of the Lin family have already had 4 obvious deviations, and there are not as many genuine and fake Marisu as usual in the 1,000 gold inscriptions. The female protagonist Lin Jiaojiao, who did not successfully establish her image in the original text, is also likely not to create a person who is both and like her character in the text. She will only follow normal rules and more like a person in her cognition. It's just that Yan Xia has no idea what kind of person she really is, and how strongly she is related to that article. So I became even more anxious. This anxiety reached its peak after Lin Yijing praised her painting a few words last week, because Lin Jiaojiao's momentary expression scared her to almost scream. This is much more terrifying than asking her to sweep the grave before. This week, Yan Xia was trembling, afraid that she would be hit and killed by a suddenly rushing car while walking on the sidewalk. The ghost pressed the bed and came every night, causing her to suffer from extreme sleep deprivation. But fortunately, she lived until Saturday without any surprises. It's time to go to the Lin family again. Chapter 7. Poisonous Snake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yan Xia suddenly knocked the hoe into the ground and dug out the soil. Is that so? It's too shallow, Miss Yan Xia, you need to go deeper. Good Yan Xia tried again, but the gardener still felt that it was not deep enough. Miss Yan Xia, don't grab your hand to the bottom, leave some distance, it's better to exert force. Yan Xia adjusted according to her words, and it was indeed more comfortable to exert force. This time, she also hoed to enough depth. After the gardener praised her a few words, she happily continued flipping over the ground. Yes, she's flipping over because she really doesn't want to face Lin Jiaojiao. Today, Mr. Lin and Lin Yijing are still in the company as usual, while Mrs. Lin has been invited out by her friends, leaving only Lin Jiaojiao to share a room with her. But Yan Xia didn't want to be alone with Lin Jiaojiao, so she came to help the gardener dig up the ground. As for why did you flip the ground? Fourth young master said he wanted to uproot fifth young master's flowers and plant vegetables, the gardener said slowly. He said he had already obtained fifth young master's consent and also took a screenshot, asking me to boldly do it. Yan Xia thought for a moment and realized something was wrong. What else can we plant when it's already winter? Potatoes. The gardener spoke slowly. Uncle Chen, you are really thoughtful in your consideration. 1/3 of the land was turned over by Yan Xia. At first, she thought about flipping through all the land, but the gardener couldn't bear to see her laborious appearance anymore. She simply took a hoe and quickly flipped through the remaining land, then took Yan Xia to tidy it up. The gardener still remembered the ridge, but Yan Xia couldn't do it anymore and strongly demanded a break. The gardener uncle saw her like that and decided to come first. If Yan Xia had rested well, he could come and help. Yan Xia still agreed, holding her beloved hoe and standing aside. Then, Lin Jiaojiao appeared. Lin Jiaojiao held a box and smiled sweetly at Yan Xia. Sister, have you finished your work? Yan Xia instantly felt that her whole body was full of energy. No, we still need to ridge it. Sister, there's no need to work so hard. These tasks are all done by gardeners in our family. Sister, why don't you come with me and sit down? Yan Xia fell silent for a moment. This strange tone really looks like a female character in the otaku drama. The next second, Yan Xia smiled and said, I just love gardening. Lin Jiaojiao was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, since my sister likes it, there's nothing we can do. Can you speak normally? Yan Xia continued to smile, then I'll go get busy. Wait. Lin Jiaojiao stopped her again. Yan Xia could only continue to laugh, is there anything else? Sister has been back for so long, and I haven't given you a gift yet. I'm really sorry. To celebrate my sister's return to her true home, I have prepared this gift specifically. I hope sister likes it. Yan Xia stared at the box handed to her, feeling that something was not quite right. How do you feel like something is moving inside? Lin Jiaojiao sent the box forward again, so Yan Xia had to pick it up. Thank you. There's really something moving inside. What's going on? What the hell is this? Lin Jiaojiao smiled and said, Sister, won't you open it and take a look? See if you like it. Who wants to open it? She just wants to find a place to bury this thing whole now. How does this look like something long is moving? Sister, Lin Jiaojiao leaned closer, don't you like it? Don't open it and take a look. Open it immediately, Lin Jiaojiao dares to get so close, there must be no danger. Struggling to death is like a cauliflower snake. Yan Xia screamed and threw the box out. A emerald green snake flew straight towards Lin Jiaojiao, who also jumped up with it. Snake. Yan Xia hurriedly picked up a hoe and smashed it onto the snake. Not strong enough, the snake with some blood is still moving. You're sick. Why do people have to open the packaging of a venomous snake in person? Where did this TM get the bamboo leaf green? Yan Xia didn't dare to let go and only dared to continue pressing down, but the snake was still wriggling wildly, about to break free. What's going on? Uncle Chen, the gardener, finally spoke less slowly. As soon as he saw the struggling snake, he followed a hoe and the snake's head finally broke. What's going on? Uncle Chen. Lin Jiaojiao interrupted Yan Xia as she was about to answer, how could there be venomous snakes in the yard? Isn't this bamboo leaf green brought in by you? As soon as Yan Xia opened her mouth, Lin Jiaojiao began to continuously output, fortunately, we didn't bite anyone. My sister and I were here just now, and it's okay to bite me. What if we bite my sister? This is bamboo leaf green, which is highly toxic. But fortunately, there is Uncle Chen. Let's hurry up and deal with this snake, Lin Jiaojiao said, kicking the snake's head. The snake's head suddenly jumped up and bit her ankle. Yan Xia was stunned. Uncle Chen was also stunned. Lin Jiaojiao started crying and shouting. So why can snakes bite people even after they die? Chapter 8. Mourning in the Emergency Department. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Miss, what's wrong with you? Does it hurt? A group of people were circling around Lin Jiaojiao, and Yan Xia was pushed outside. What should I do without asking the third young master? Someone suggested. The butler thought it was a good idea and actually wanted to contact Lin Qingji. Should you? Call 120 first. Yan Xia couldn't help but tell the butler who was contacting Lin Qingji. But third young master is a doctor. Sangu is in leprosy village and doesn't have any medicine at home. Let 120 take her to the hospital first. The butler ignored her and still got through to Lin Qingji's phone, explaining to him what was happening here. So, what do you want me to do? Lin Qingji's voice came out through the external broadcast. Miss was bitten by a venomous snake and wants third young master to help take a look. Tell her not to move and take her directly to the hospital, otherwise she'll call 120. But third young master, could you take a look first? What am I looking at? Is it useful? Do you have anti-venom serum at home? Just call 120 and take it to the hospital. Lin Qingji hung up the phone directly. Yan Xia breathed a sigh as she looked at the butler's very unpleasant expression. Everyone said it, call 120 first. Lin Jiaojiao has been crying all along. She cried, and the people around her comforted her with heartache, but no one tried to help her remove the snake's head, nor did anyone use ropes or straps to tie her calves to prevent the snake venom from flowing to her heart so quickly. Yan Xia searched for the correct first aid measures for a venomous snake bite while looking at Lin Jiaojiao, who was surrounded, feeling a bit pitiful. I don't know if they are really at a loss or if they are doing things with the principle of not doing well. Quickly, an ambulance arrived and Lin Jiaojiao, who was still crying, was carried up. Finally, the doctor said, find a family member to go with our car. But none of her family is around. Those who are familiar with the situation will come with us first. Now, the butler looked at Yan Xia and said, Miss Yan Xia, please. Yan Xia. Okay. That seems right too. But in reality, there's nothing wrong with Yan Xia. Because Lin Jiaojiao is clear-headed, although Yan Xia also followed her, Lin Jiaojiao entered the emergency room and no one asked Yan Xia about the incident. A nurse asked Yan Xia to register, but Yan Xia stayed for a while. But I don't have her ID card. Didn't the doctor tell you to bring her ID card? I am not her family member. Are you her friend? No, I'm a guest of her family, but I just happened to see her bitten by a snake. The doctor asked someone familiar with the situation to come over, and their family pushed me in. The family will come over later. The little nurse also froze. She seemed to have never seen such a magical operation before, so she had to sit down first and inform her family again. Yan Xia thought for a moment and sent a WeChat message to Lin Qingji, indicating that she had arrived at the hospital. Lin Qingji kept showing input in progress, but he didn't send anything. After a while, the butler and his team arrived in full swing. Upon inquiry, it was confirmed that I still did not bring my ID card. They had to go to the emergency room and ask where Lin Jiaojiao's ID card was, and then go back to look for it. At this moment, Yan Xia realized that no one had notified Mrs. Lin and her team, so she had to make a phone call to Mrs. Lin and ask her to notify them. As soon as Yan Xia hung up the phone, the little maid from the Lin family who had always been good with Lin Jiaojiao began to cry, crying louder and louder, as if Lin Jiaojiao had already died. After a while, several Lin family workers who were originally looking at each other also began to cry. Yan Xiamu stared blankly. No, Lin Jiaojiao hasn't died yet, has she? People are still awake. When Mrs. Lin rushed over, she saw such a scene. Her heart tightened and she fainted. Chapter 9. Registered money is also money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mrs. Lin was also sent to the emergency room. The butler who had just returned screamed, "Madam," and began to cry. After a while, 119 hurriedly entered the emergency room as well. Yan Xia, who was originally paddling, finally realized that she couldn't continue like this. Here's a little bit of science popularization. There are some emergency medicine reserves in the emergency department, so even if there is no registration, patients who are really urgent can still undergo routine rescue first. But not all medicines have spare parts, or if there are too many people being rescued in a short period of time and there is no medicine left, then it is necessary to register and have the doctor prescribe it before asking the family members to pay for the medicine. Yan Xia didn't originally know about these things, but she found out after frequently running to the hospital in her senior year. Previously, Yan Xia just didn't want to register Lin Jiaojiao. In fact, when emergency registration is urgent, an ID card is not required. But is registration free? If it's really urgent, the nurse will naturally rush to register. At that time, she also had to go. Isn't it that the nurse didn't remind me? This proves that Lin Jiaojiao is not in a hurry at all, so she is not in a hurry either. Perhaps the snake head's deterrent power is too strong, and even if the snake head is not taken down, the nurse dare not move. This is purely passive and has no medicine available. So even the fire department came. It seems that doctors can't handle snake heads, they have to rely on firefighters. I always feel that it has added a lot of trouble to the hospital. After glancing at the Lin family worker who couldn't help at all, Yan Xia lowered her head and sent a WeChat message to Lin Qingji, telling him that Mrs. Lin was scared unconscious. She first gave Mrs. Lin and Lin Jiaojiao a number. Lin Qingji has been typing all along, and I don't know what he is typing. It's been so long and he hasn't finished typing yet. She ran to the nurse station and smiled apologetically at the little nurse who had just asked her to register. The mother of the girl who was bitten by a snake has just entered the emergency room. She just fainted and was pushed in. Let me help them register, she said. The little nurse listened for a moment, but still asked her to register. After she gave the registration paper to the doctor, Lin Qingji finally made a voice call. I'm Lin Qingji. Are you in the hospital now? Not really, Xiaoyan, Lin Jiaojiao's little maid, and they are also here. What are they doing then? Cough, they're a little emotional. They're still crying now. Lin Qingji repeated in a strange tone, are you crying? Well, I'm crying. But now I'm whispering. Lin Qingji remained silent for a while, and Yan Xia thought the signal was not good. She fed several times before the sound came from there again. Big brother, they haven't arrived yet. Not yet. Did you contact me? I had Lin's mother contact me before, I don't know when to come. Lin Qingji remained silent for a while before saying, don't you have the contact information of Big Brother and his team? Yes. I'll let the Big Brother and his team go over later. Please wait a little longer. Could you please keep an eye on it for now? Good, how much does it cost to register? Registration medication fees, you can send them to me later and I will transfer the money to you. Okay, I'll send it to you later. Thank you, third brother. San Gu must be one of the most normal people in the Lin family. Yan Xia hung up the phone and hurriedly took the prescription to pay the fee and collect the medicine, while also sending the bill to Lin Qingji. Lin Qingji indeed readily transferred the money to her, even adding a few hundred more. He said she worked too hard and asked her to go nearby for a meal later. He treated her. When she returned, the firefighters had already left, and Lin Jiaojiao's wound had already been treated. Even Mrs. Lin had regained consciousness. Yan Xia had to coax Mrs. Lin and take her for a CT scan first. As they left the emergency room, the Lin family workers finally gathered around with swollen and red eyes, shouting, "Madam." However, one advantage of these people catching up is that it is very easy to cross the bed in the CT room, and Yan Xia hardly needs to exert any effort. These people have put in a lot of effort this time, otherwise Yan Xia would feel that they have grasped the essence of not working hard too much. When Mrs. Lin returned to the emergency room, Mr. Lin and Lin Yijing finally arrived. Yan Xia briefly explained the situation and gave them the information before exiting the stage. But when Yan Xia returned from 7.11, Lin Yijing was actually still talking to the emergency doctor. "She has finished eating, what is this talk about? Is it serious to talk for so long?" She propped up her ears to listen to the commotion inside, and the emergency doctor was still explaining to Lin Yijing, "She has already injected anti-snake venom serum and observed for enough time. It is now relatively stable, and it is indeed possible to transfer from the emergency room to the observation area to continue the injection." Lin Yijing said, "Are you sure? What if something happens later?" The doctor patiently explained, "So you need to be accompanied by family members and continue to observe. We also have nurses in our observation area, and you can always contact them if you have any questions." Lin Yijing said again, "Can't we continue fighting in the emergency room? But your sister's condition is currently relatively stable and she doesn't need to stay in the emergency room." Lin Yijing said again, "What should we do if we have something to do later? This has turned back." Yan Xia couldn't bear the conversation of the wheels, she probably knew why it had been so long. Yan Xia felt that this was really endless. Especially the emergency doctor inside is a petite female doctor who seems to be afraid of conflicts with the tall Lin family father and son. She patiently explains and even the car wheels patiently accompany them. The more she looked, the more she felt that the doctor was a bit miserable, and she told Lin Qingji about the situation here. Not long after, Lin Qingji sent a video over. As soon as the video was connected, Lin Qingji said, "You give your phone to Big Brother, and I'll talk to him." "Okay." Yan Xia handed her phone to Lin Yijing and then hid to the side. Lin Qingji first asked him to talk to the emergency doctor, and the two of them talked about the condition of Lin Jiaojiao and Mrs. Lin. Even Yan Xia's barren brain could tell that they were indeed quite stable now, so they could be transferred out of the emergency room to the observation area. But Lin Yijing has objections to Lin Jiaojiao's issue. He felt bitten by a venomous snake and might die, so he didn't agree to be transferred out of the emergency room. Lin Qingji apologized to the emergency doctor and asked her to hand her phone to Lin Yijing. Chapter 10. Living in Orthopedics because of the risk of broken legs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Big Brother, Lin Qingji advised Lin Yijing in a calm voice, "Mom and Jiaojiao's current situation can indeed be transferred out of the emergency room, and we can continue to observe with a hanging needle in the observation area." Lin Yijing didn't buy it at all and said, "What if there's any accident later? We will handle it naturally. There is no need to stay in the emergency room now. It's not good for them to be frightened if they stay in the emergency room." Lin Yijing still didn't turn around. "Can't we continue to wait in the emergency room? What if they have another accident later?" Lin Qingji reached out and lifted his glasses. This action is very familiar to Yan Xia. Last time, it was Lin Xiaowei who lifted his glasses, and a few times later, he beat Lin Xiaowei up. Lin Qingji's voice indeed cooled down, but the content seemed to soften. "Then I'll be hospitalized," he said. "Hospitalization." Lin Yijing hesitated. Yes, since you're not at ease, let them stay in the hospital for observation. Mr. Lin, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up and said, "It's better to stay for a while and feel at ease." Yan Xia saw clearly that Lin Qingji had lifted his glasses again. Lin Yijing was still hesitating, and Mr. Lin said, "Think about it, if your mother and Jiao Jiao have any ups and downs." As a result, Lin Yi's scenic spot has come to an end. He agreed, he really agreed. Lin Qingji lifted his glasses again. "Give the doctor your phone." Lin Yijing handed his phone to the doctor again, and Lin Qingji's voice remained calm, like before beating Lin Xiaowei. "Sorry, could you please arrange a consultation to see if my mother and sister can be admitted to the hospital?" The emergency doctor agreed, and she will first help them arrange a consultation. Then she returned the phone that had already hung up the video to Yan Xia and politely invited them out. As soon as the door closed, the emergency doctor quickly took out his phone and called the director. "For the old, just look for the neurology department, but for the young, who should we look for?" "Hello, director, I'm Chen Yu. It's like this. There's a patient who was bitten by a bamboo leaf green. He's stable, but his family is worried and always says what to do if something happens. Now they strongly demand hospitalization. Yes, I told them that his condition is relatively stable, but his family is still very worried and must be hospitalized. I've never done it before, and I want to ask which department to consult with." Finally, Lin Jiaojiao and Mrs. Lin were admitted to the hospital as planned, and Yan Xia also withdrew as planned. The next day, Lin Qingji rushed back from the leprosy village and came to pick up Yan Xia to visit Mrs. Lin and Lin Jiaojiao at the hospital. "You can rest for a week if you stay in leprosy village. So half of the month you can rest," he explained to Yan Xia. "So you didn't come back before just because you didn't want to come back?" Yan Xia didn't ask, nor did she dare to ask. After all, so far, this third brother is the most normal, and it wouldn't be good if he became abnormal when asked. At the hospital, Lin Qingji picked up a bag of dragon fruit and a bag of bananas for Yan Xia to carry, and he also brought out 2 fruit baskets. He explained to Yan Xia, "Give the dragon fruit to Mom and the banana to Lin Jiaojiao." Yan Xia was a bit shocked. Lin Jiaojiao likes bananas. Where do the wealthy heirs who love to eat bananas come from? Don't you think something's wrong? No. Lin Qingji denied, she doesn't like it. Is it because bananas are suitable for exploring diseases? Lin Qingji fell silent for a moment before denying, "No. I just think monkeys love to eat bananas and their intelligence is not low. I can give Lin Jiaojiao some tonic." Yan Xia wanted to retract her previous statement that Lin Qingji was very normal. Lin Qingji first sent a fruit basket to the neurology office, thanked Mrs. Lin's attending physician, and led Yan Xia to chat with the lively Mrs. Lin for a while, allowing Mrs. Lin to feel the warmth of her own children. Then, he took Yan Xia to the orthopedics department to see Lin Jiaojiao. Regarding why Lin Jiaojiao lives in the orthopedics department, Lin Qingji's explanation is that many patients with snake bites who do not handle them properly in the early stages may have limb necrosis or even require amputation, so it is possible to stay in the orthopedics department. Of course, Lin Jiaojiao is not in this situation, and in fact, she does not need to be hospitalized. This is the bed that the Lin family forcibly requested. "So why do you live in the orthopedics department?" Lin Qingji said, "Maybe it's because they think Lin Jiaojiao is at risk of breaking her leg." Then, Yan Xia saw the risk of Lin Jiaojiao breaking her leg. As soon as they entered the door, they saw Lin Jiaojiao being fed congee by Lin Yijing with a soft face. Yan Xia shivered with the tension in their eyes. She hopes that this kind of gaze will never appear on her, it's disgusting. Lin Qingji greeted without changing his expression, highlighting the presence between him and Yan Xia, and then asked Yan Xia to send the bananas over. After helping Yan Xia brush off her presence, Lin Qingji emphasized that they would not disturb Lin Jiaojiao's recovery. They would thank the doctor later and leave. Yan Xia finally understood why Lin Qingji didn't give the fruit basket to the doctor first. Anyway, Lin Qingji showed off the fruit basket, and Lin Yijing didn't keep them, let them go first. After handling these matters, Lin Qingji took Yan Xia to have a good meal before sending her back. As Yan Xia was about to say goodbye before getting off the car, Lin Qingji suddenly asked, "Did Lin Jiaojiao bring the snake in by herself?" Yan Xia was stunned. She blinked and said, "Why does third brother think so?" Lin Qingji said, "It's winter, where are there so many snakes running around?" He glanced at Yan Xia and said, "Besides, you're not as stupid as her. Should I say thank him for looking up to her intelligence? In the future, I will spend less time alone with Lin Jiaojiao and receive less gifts from her," Lin Qingji said wearily. "Some people have too low IQ and you don't know what she will do." "Okay." Lin Qingji handed her another big box and said, "It's for you. Mom still cares about you, she's just used to paying attention to Lin Jiaojiao." Thank you, third brother." Upon returning home, Yan Xia realized that Lin Qingji had given her the digital tablet she wanted. She just let out a mournful cry on her social media a few days ago when the digital board broke down. Surprisingly, Lin Qingji would also look at her social media. She thought about Lin Qingji's expressionless face, feeling a bit unimaginable.